Hello, and thank you for joining me today. Just before I get started, I'm just going to read out my TAFE disclaimer. My name is Shauna McLean, student number 4529419925. This recording will be used for the purpose of my education and training and will be used, viewed, and stored per TAFE Queensland's privacy policy, which is available on the TQ website and only accessed by TAFE Queensland staff. Do you provide your consent to be recorded in this activity and for TAFE Queensland to use your recording for education and training purposes, Jess?
I do.
And Laurie?
Yes, I do.
Great, thank you so much. So welcome. As you all know, I am the project manager for the RighteousBean renovation. We're now moving into the next phase, which is budget and schedule. And we are meeting today to discuss the project baseline so that I can develop the schedule and cost management plan. I'll be chairing today's meeting. I'll be using Zoom Translate to record the minutes, and I'll also be recording the video today. Just before we get started and kick off the meeting, I just will ask that you both introduce yourself. Mark
Yeah, I'm Mark Penfold and I'm the Managing Director.
and Lisa.
Lisa Matthews, the external builder.
Great, thank you so much. And Lisa, I'll just get you to kick off with the acknowledgement of country.
No worries. Thank you. So I'd like to start by acknowledging the traditional custodians of country throughout Australia and respect the continuing connection to land, waters, cultures and family that Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples uphold. We pay respect to elders past, present and future. We recognise that teaching and learning has taken place on country for over 60,000 years and two-way learning is an important part of our reconciliation journey.
Thank you. So on today's agenda, we've already gone through the acknowledgement of country. We'll be reviewing the work breakdown structure that I've prepared a draft of prior to the meeting. And we'll be discussing the resources required for each of the work packages that are broken down. And of course, I want us to have an open discussion and get your feedback on the schedule of the baseline development. And then that will bring the meeting to a close. Okay, so the fun part of the project is here, which is the work breakdown structure. So essentially, like you both know, I've worked with yourself, Lisa, on other projects before. The work breakdown structure is essentially the project in a whole broken down into bite-sized pieces. So today we're just going to run through some of the work packages and what resources we need from both a human perspective and then, a physical deliverable perspective as well. I've already been doing some brainstorming behind the scenes, so I might just kick off with where we're at the moment. So at the moment, we're at work package 2, which is the planning phase of the project. So the first milestone that we've got there is the budgeting, estimating, timeline, and scheduling. So, Mark, we are just keen to find out from yourself in terms of doing budgeting, estimating, and that sort of stuff for the project. Do you have any software internally that you guys already use that maybe we could use?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's going to be more handy if we just use the one software that we've got. You should be able to link into that, no problems.
Yeah, great. And then that will be able to be saved on the intranet as per the policies. Of course, after budgeting, we'll be moving into the design phase. So I have engaged our interior designer. Her name is Bailey. Lisa, I know you've recommended her on multiple occasions for other projects that we've done that have been similar. So, we did another cafe project probably about 8 months ago together. And Mark, that project, the interior designer was fantastic. We really think that that would be a good fit for the RighteousBean as well. Are you happy for us to make that decision and introduce you to the interior designer?
Yeah, that'd be great. I trust your judgment on that.
Excellent, great. Now, of course, the next phase is pretty obvious, choosing the products required from the design meeting. So in terms of what's required from that meeting, that will be the interior designer will need to be present. And then obviously we'll need to order some samples as well. So I'll leave that in Bailey's capable hands, and she'll take care of that with yourself.
Yep, sounds good.
Now, in terms of the next stage, which is ordering the actual materials and everything else that we need for the actual physical deliverables, do you think that we should get a procurement lead this time round, Lisa? So the procurement lead would, order these things on behalf of myself rather than me having to do them.
Yes, absolutely. We'll save some time. Can outsource that.
Yeah, I agree. And then I think it would only make sense that they would also then just, take care of the rest of the materials that are needed, and ordering, things like the skip bin and whatever else before commencement.
Perfect.
Right. So the next one is a super important one, Mark, that, we take really seriously, which is choosing the trades required and also making sure we've got backup trades. So I'm just having a look at the list here, and it looks like we need an electrician, a plumber, and a carpenter.
Yep.
Lisa, do you have any recommendations for those trades?
Yeah, definitely been in the industry, have worked with a lot of those, so I can shoot you through some names that are trusty and I've worked with and can vouch for.
Excellent. And my only concern is, that one of the trades falls through and we don't have a backup. Do you have maybe a few of each that you could send through, just so we
No
have some
problem.
backup options?
No problems at all.
Awesome, great. Now I'll leave it up to the procurement lead that will assign to arrange the contracts and stuff with the trades as well. So, making sure that we have those really solidified and that all the deposits are paid and everything else is kind of sorted out before we actually move to the next phase, which is execution. Awesome. Now, obviously, the bulk of the work is going to go in 3.0. Just something I wanted to point out, which I was thinking of, which I think would probably make sense. Both the benchtop and the cupboards are going to be installed by the carpenter. Is that right, Lisa?
Yes, we can arrange for that to happen.
Yeah. So I think we arrange for him to just be on site, or whoever is chosen just be on site at the one time. And then he can knock out both those jobs in one go. But obviously before that can happen, there's got to be a fair bit of stuff that, goes into the pre-commencement preparation of the area. So in terms of the pre-commencement preparation, I did sort of briefly mention earlier, but my thoughts are we would need a skip bin on site to chuck all the existing cupboards and, just stuff that doesn't need to be retained in the current kitchen in that bin.
Definitely essential. There'll be a lot of things to throw out.
Absolutely. So I guess the other things I was thinking about as well is probably the flooring. So the flooring is a hazard at the moment. So Mark, are you wanting us to take care of ripping out that flooring, like get an official trade in to do that?
Yeah, I think for time purposes and to be able to make sure it all goes and flows through, that would be preferred. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So, it's just important, Lisa, that you make sure that whoever we pick to install those tiles and remove the floor, that, they're someone that's super reliable, because if they obviously don't show up, or if the procurement don't get the tiles delivered on time, that's really going to mess up the whole timeline.
No problems. I'll be very clear and make sure that they agree before we get them on site.
Excellent. Awesome. Sounds good to me. So once the flooring has been actually replaced and, Mark, you come through and do your walkthrough and you're happy with the flooring and how it's looking, the next stage of the project will be 3.3, which will be the replacement of the kitchen facilities and appliances. So I know initially, Mark, you weren't going to replace the cupboards, but then we made that change. So we will be replacing the cupboards, and we'll be replacing also the stove and the oven as well. So they'll be ordered as part of the procurement process. And of course, you'll be the one that's choosing the stuff in the design meeting. When it comes to that, we'll need to make sure, Lisa, that you have the electrician on site, and also the plumber to set up the new sink.
Yep, no problems.
Great. And then finally, we've got the budget and compliance review, which will be ongoing from the execution phase, just to make sure that we stay on track throughout the project. So, Mark, I'm just going to assume that with the budgeting and compliance review that will be ongoing, we'll complete a spreadsheet internally, which will be regularly reviewed, and we'll just set a time to catch up once a week to make sure that the budget is on track, and the scheduling is on track as well, and everything is going as per the project baseline that we set in the management plan.
Yep, that sounds great.
Excellent. And then that will bring the project to the last stage, which will be the final inspection. So during the final inspection, obviously, yourself and myself will be walking through, doing a thorough check of everything, make sure everything is compliant, make sure that you're totally happy with the project. And of course, we want your feedback at the end of the project, because myself and Lisa work together on, like I said, similar projects, but there's always room for improvement. So in terms of the final inspection, we will get your sign off once complete.
Yep, not a worry.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Okay, so that brings our meeting today to a close. So I really appreciate your feedback, which, like as I said, will assist with developing that project baseline schedule and the cost management plan. So from here, I'll go away and put together that plan, and then I will come to you via email and ask for your approval and sign off and just confirmation that we're on the same page about the project baseline.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thanks.